Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. This is an unboxing video of a new arrival, and this time it is brand new and upside down. This is Imperial Struggle, the long-awaited sequel, not sequel, but the long-awaited follow-up to Twilight Struggle by designers Ananda Gupta and Jason Matthews from GMT Games. I like the box. It's a very handsome box. It's a big, thick, 3-inch GMT box. So let us open her up and see what goodies we get inside. At some point I should think to put a trash can next to me during these unboxing videos. So pretty tight box. Ooh, counter tray. It's always nice to have counter trays. I'm always glad to see counter trays get included in games, frankly, because I use them. All right, so let's do this in an orderly fashion. So we have a rulebook. This is a glossy 20-page rulebook. Now, I don't really know how similar this is to Twilight Struggle. I think it's thematic. I don't want to use the word thematically. I think it's akin to Twilight Struggle. But we have, looks like a fairly large print, a decent number of illustrations. I wouldn't say lavishly illustrated, but I'd rather have good rules than lavish illustrations personally. Although certainly there's need for some illustrations, don't get me wrong. And copies of, or displays of the counter sheets, which is also nice, and an index, which is also nice, and not necessarily standard for GMT. Although I feel like that's been changing in recent years. We also have a playbook. This is the same. This is 28 pages. It's on a pretty glossy stock. Obviously, it's full color. Here we have a setup guide, an extended example of play, which is always great to see. Guide for CDG players. Okay. Historical background. This looks like detail on the cards and war tiles. Maybe you're interested to take a look at that. Always good to see historical background in these things as well. And I consider the extended example of play to be, and designer's notes, which I also consider kind of mandatory. It's more common for publishers to omit an extended example of play, that was the cat, sorry about that, than designer's notes, and I think both are really required. All right, so we have two player aid cards which contain a sequence of play and some other stuff which appears to be mechanical. These are on full color, I'd say satin finish, reasonably heavy, not super duper heavy, but reasonably heavy. We also have these which appear to be gameplay related. So we have a card for the War of the Spanish Succession, the American War of Independence, the 7 Years' War, and the War of the Austrian Succession, which is all interesting. And then we have counter sheets. Now, I don't even know if counter sheets is quite the right word here, because what we have on a couple of these are these big tiles. Also, you know, I was actually looking at, SPI used to do this kind of thing where they would, if you needed cards or something, you'd get these tiles in the game, which were on like counter stock. This is on a monstrously thick brown core stock, really thick. We've got these hex tiles as well, larger ones and smaller ones. More of those. And then we have what look like control markers, which are probably French on the back. They are. And some various other counters. They're all on this really thick. This looks like 5/8 based on the number of counters I see, but they're not laid out like typical 5/8 inch counters. So I'd actually have to kind of measure them. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're 9/16, but they look closer to. They actually, to me, look a little bit between 9/16 and 5/8. So, and then we have these boards, which look like player displays, which I'm going to try and open this up without wrecking them. Good Lord. Is that some kind of super strap here? All right, so these are single-sided. We have a French player mat. We have a British player mat. And then we have what looks like a deck holding panel. Investment tiles. This looks very interesting, actually. And to me, this looks more interesting than Twilight Struggle at this point. Now we have the board too. I'll take it out of this bag. Sometimes I can do this without wrecking the bag. Not always. There have been at least one occasion where I wrecked whatever was in the bag instead of the bag. All right, so let's see if we can set this thing up. I technically have room here, but well, I'm a little constrained at this exact moment due to the star map. Now, I had seen they had shown the board off at various points online previously, so I've seen what the board looks like, and I thought it looked really nice. Now, how it works in play, I have no idea at this time. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to give this thing a good look, because this looks pretty interesting from what I can see so far. The board is very handsome. Like I said, I can't speak to how efficient it is in play at this point, but it's certainly attractive. I like it a lot. Map art by Terry Leeds. Okay, Terry is... I haven't really seen that much from him, but he has done... What I have seen has been some really, really strong work. All right, we have two rather slim decks of cards here. We have... Okay, well, let's open them up and take a look, because I have no idea. I actually bought those silicone bands to keep cards in until such time as I can make tuck boxes for them. And I like making tuck boxes, but it's a fair amount of work to do tuck boxes for a game, to be honest. Unless you don't care what they look like, in which case, you know, you can slap them together very easily. I'm a little surprised that nobody does generic tuck boxes. I'm also a little surprised that I can never get these things open easily. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, so we have what looks like a general deck with events and stuff, and then more events, and then these revolutions. This looks like the whole general deck, and then we have ministry cards for each faction. This is, of course, Britain versus France in the period a couple hundred years leading up to the French Revolution, not including the French Revolution. Okay, so this is like the deck, and then you have these ministry cards. Do these represent individuals? Looks like they do. Jonathan Swift, East India Company, not all individuals. Edmund Halley, Pitt the Elder, Charles Hanbury Williams, Merchant Banks, Samuel Johnson, James Watt, Papacy Hanover negotiations, the Townsend Acts, Edmund Burke. And for France, we have the Cardinal Ministers, John Law, Court of the Sun King, Jacobite Uprisings, which of course the French supported, New World Huguenots. Back at school, we learned it as Huguenots. I know that's not how the French would pronounce it. Nor do I know how to pronounce this guy's name. Choiseul, Duplay, Pompadour, and Dubarry. Voltaire, Turgot, North American Trade, Marquis de Condorcet, and Lavoisier. Okay, so that's cool. Interesting characters from the period. It's 1697 to 1789, so about 100 years. And then in the box, we have one of these box spacers, which I completely understand why they include these, to keep things from rattling around in the box, which is a phenomenon that I have seen result in component damage to stuff. However, I invariably take these and throw them in the wastebasket because I don't have the ability to store the game components back in the box with the spacer. And but I'm completely comfortable with that. So, Imperial Struggle. Yeah, I'm super excited to get this, actually. Looking at it, I'm even more excited now to see it now that I've seen it, if you know what I'm saying. So thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the unboxing. Please give it a thumbs up if you have. If you have any questions or anything, please leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, happy wargaming.